This election was for, it's actually 4 elections for 2 mayor positions for the legislature and for the ministry. So to start things off, we're going to do the Mayor of London. Okay, we had 3 candidates for Mayor of London, and there were several write-in candidates. So I'm going to start looking at the write-ins. Charlie Zulu was a write-in with 5 points. Again, Charlie Zulu was not running for Mayor of London. He was running for re-election in the ministry. He was actually a very popular write-in candidate, though. Super Cozy Shake was running for Mayor of York, and the rest of these were just written in. They weren't running. They were, of course, for other positions, but none of these people won the Mayor of London. So first we have number 3 with 163 points. Before I go any further, I want to make sure people can hear me because I'm sounding really quiet on my end. Okay, great. And at number 3 for 163 points, Darth Spectrum. Darth Spectrum actually got the most first votes, but because of the secondary and tertiary votes, did not win the election. So if we'd have been running first past the poll, the results would have been very different. For number 2 at 165 points, again, this is a very close call on second and third, but of course they're both runners up. Wes Gutt. And for the winner, the Mayor of London for 174 points is, and just imagine there's a drum roll because I didn't want to put a drum roll in, Mr. Underground. Mr. Underground has been elected Mayor of London. And I believe Mr. Underground was the mayor of Democraciv which we do not ever mention out loud. And I believe he served as mayor then. He is serving as the Mayor of London now. So congratulations, Mr. Underground. Okay, so we move on to the Mayor of York. So at number 3 with 1 point, I'm really excited. I personally really just thought this was the best vote possible. And I, for one, welcome Kodos. Okay, that was, I know it's a joke ballot. I had to include it because I can't blame whoever voted for Kodos because I can't blame who voted for Kodos. Okay. So there were several write-in candidates for Mayor of York. Most of them were joke candidates. By that I mean There Is No Third Choice was a very popular candidate. The problem was that there were 2 candidates for Mayor of York and 3 sections for the ballot. Well, the reason for that was that we had a write-in section so people could add people to the ballot. And if they did that, they needed more than 2 choices. But a lot of people, I guess, didn't quite get that. So I got a lot of interesting write-ins that aren't on this list. Once again, Charlie Zulu is a write-in candidate. And I'm actually on this list, and I wasn't running. But because I'm doing the elections, I'm not eligible for office. So I'm not really counted here. Darth Spectrum, I believe we just announced him as one of the candidates for London, not for York. So saw some of that where candidates for London were written in for York, and candidates for York were written in for London. So moving on to number 2 with 189 points. Super Cozy Shake. And at number 1, the Mayor of York with 233 points is Iamteehee. So Iamteehee is currently with the Legislature and was not going for re-election in the Legislature and is now our official Mayor of York. So congratulations, Iamteehee. So now we have the Legislature election. And again, this was using the proportional system, so everyone voted for parties. We had 2 independent candidates on here. And we have the Global Socialist Initiative, the merger of Global Cultural Initiative and the Socialist Democratic Party. They win 5 seats, which means, let me look at my notes here, because I can't trust my memory. Okay, Mr. TARDIS and pantsonfire continue to serve in the Legislature, and we welcome Ajokitty, EMAS 100, and Captain Redfish to join them in office now. So congratulations to all the members of Global Socialist Initiative who took seats in this election. Next, we have the National Democratic Party with 5 seats, which means all of their candidates win. So, Bisonfingers and Princess Unlikebob all get to stay in Legislature, and we get to welcome pandaneedshug and Big Boom 789 as well. Unfortunately, National Democratic Party won 5 seats and only nominated 4 members. There's a contradiction in the Constitution as to how to handle this. There's an old section that says we run a second election that we meant to remove and got left in, but there's another section that indicates the seat must be reassigned. So that's the section I'm going to assume, and we can sort that out if that becomes an issue later. So when I reassign the seat for the National Democratic Party, the seat goes to Global Socialist Initiative because they were tied for votes, which means Frankly Awesome is taking the seat for the National Democratic Party. Again, I realize that's a little awkward, so we can look into that later. Okay, and the Pirate Party has 3 seats, which they already have, meaning Knockenbrook, J. Hilden 13, and AurorianKeke are all re-elected. Workers' Liberation Movement gains 3 seats here, and I believe they already had 3 seats, so I hope I'm saying this right. Ldnmarx and MasenkoEx both get re-elected. However, I believe Darth Spectrum was serving with them previously and is now running for mayor. So instead, Behemoth has now become the Workers' Liberation 3rd candidate. And so we welcome Behemoth to Legislature. Now, I was really, really surprised at this one because Party Ad Astra only won 1 seat. And previous election, they were a very powerful candidate. So I was very surprised by this. This means that Blonde Hog, Speaker of the House, gets to maintain his position as legislator. Now, moving on to the independent candidates, we have, and again, I hope I'm saying it right, Kamixny Bogdan wins 2 seats. Now, I had been nominated as the alternate if he had won. Unfortunately for me certainly, I'm not eligible for office, meaning his seat has to be reassigned the same way that the NDP seat was reassigned, which means that going down the order of candidates, the party with the 1 vote less than Kamixny Bogdan is Ad Astra. This means that Not Hot Princess LePigNexus is re-elected for Legislature. Okay. And finally, Charisian wins 1 seat. There was no alternate that was offered, which is okay because only 1 seat was reassigned. So I do have some concerns that 2 candidates had to have their seats reassigned. So it's just something to keep in mind for all the parties is make sure you have that alternate list and that it's long enough to cover, how likely you are to win. Because I don't think this works out best for anyone, but a re-election wouldn't work either because they would still be written out. So moving on to the final section, this is the ministry vote. And there were 2 ministry seats because Some Guy and Charlie Zulu were both running for re-election. And of course, we had a couple of write-in candidates for ministry, and Behemoth 1 and Kamixny Bogdan, both who are now legislators, were both written in. And Darth Spectrum, who was a legislator and ran for mayor, also got a write-in. Each one only got 1 point. They were all 3rd choices. So at number 4, the second runner-up for 101 points is Some Guy 1342. So Some Guy was running for re-election and did not win. At number 3, the other runner-up for 130 points is Charlie Zulu. And I was a little surprised by this result because I thought he had a lot of public support, but he only got 130 points. So Charlie Zulu was not re-elected. Neither of the existing candidates retained their position. At number 2, the first ministry seat goes to, well, first of all, this is 37 points higher than the previous candidate. So it's quite a significant difference. So I would say these 2 winners were very clear in their popularity. Dunkacoke is now minister. So congratulations to Dunkacoke. Finally, the second seat at 174 points, not too far ahead, but still a clear win, goes to Zach Bear. So congratulations, Zach Bear, on becoming part of the ministry. So here's the final results. Just remember that on the legislature section, that Party Ad Astra and Global Socialist Initiative both got seats reassigned to them. So this is the results of the election. Now I'm watching the comments to see if anyone has any questions before I turn off the microphone.